stay.
See if I can sound smart. In this series, we want to show real numbers, not silly TV math, but what it really costs to buy, renovate, and build a house. Take a deep breath. You ready for this? Welcome to Vancouver, Canada. This is an expensive town. Buckle up. This ain't no small town in the US where you can buy a house and renovate it for, I don't know, what do they say, $9.82? Let's start off with the sale of our last house and the purchase of the property that we're about to renovate, this house that I'm sitting in right now. Let's break it down by the numbers. Here's our previous little house when we bought it. Woohoo, look at that charmer. Looking good. Oh, that's not looking good. What would you pay for this 634 square foot little one bedroom house with an unfinished basement that you had to walk outside to go to? Completely, I don't even have words to describe it. Well, Rebecca found this diamond in the rough, and by rough I mean it was really rough, back in April 2017. And her instincts are good. She went to look at the sneak peek open house and liked it, and she phoned me and I could just hear it in her voice, and I went and saw it, and anyways, we're off to the races. It was listed for $1,099,000 on a small 25 by 100 foot lot. After 6 days on the market, we'd negotiated the deal and removed subjects. We paid $1,175,000. So let me do the math and carry the one, $76,000 over list. Now, I explained it that way so that I can get something off my chest. Can we please stop saying over asking as if it means something? A property is worth what someone is willing to pay for it at that moment in time. Remember that. So please stop using over asking as a descriptor for market conditions. Now, back to the story. Then we lived in this little charmer after renovating it to look like this. Ah, so cute. Fond memories looking back at these pictures. Popularly known as the Pink Door House. We listed it February 2022 and had a firm deal 15 days later, and it sold for $1.7 million for a lift of $525,000 over 5 years. But not bad, those big numbers. Shout out to Sean Lee at Blue Realty for handling the sale. Sean, you're awesome, thanks buddy. At this point, I should let you know that the market in Vancouver likely peaked the week that we listed the property. So here's a graph tracking the cost of detached houses over the last 3 years in East Vancouver. So check out February 2022, that's where we're talking. Boom, way up there. Shortly after the sale and before completion, we bought our current project in April of 2022 and took possession at the beginning of June. Now this timing is important, and I'll explain it in a second. The house was on the market for 2 days. It was listed for $1.8 million. When we saw it, it already had an offer on it, but it spoke to us. It had a wishing well. We decided to go for it, and we came in at their asking price with no subjects, and we beat the competition. Boom! Maybe that wasn't a good idea. We will see. As you can see that we bought this at the absolute peak of the market. Yay us! But remember, we sold in the same market. So as long as you're buying and selling in the same market, moving laterally, it doesn't really matter as much as it sounds. Then things get a little tricky. Our old place hadn't closed yet, and it was important to Rebecca that we didn't have to move out of there before we could move our stuff in here. So that's how we lined up the dates. And at the time, it seemed like a good idea, but things got expensive because we needed to bridge. Bridge is a term that people throw around where you essentially create a bridge from one space to the next with a bridge of money. But where do you get that money from? It gets expensive. Even with that money, we had a number of other properties and projects going on. And so I had to go to my mortgage broker, Susie Ingalls, to work her magic. And she's been amazing for me over, really, she's done every single mortgage I've ever gotten. Okay, take a deep breath and see if you can follow me on this one. We had to use Home Trust as an alternative lender for the first year at 5.99% with a 1% lender fee. The math is right there. We needed to use Home Trust because they use a more liberal debt servicing ratio, which was helpful in our complicated situation. To put it simply, we got a lot of mortgage debt. Yay us. Make a t-shirt that says that. Our mortgage amount for this new house was $1,170,000 for a 30-year mortgage. So even with $630,000 down payment, we had a monthly payment of close to $7,000. Now, 1 year later, we had the funds to renew, and we switched our mortgage to a mainstream lender, Van City, for $1,100,000 at a rate of 5.19. Now, interest rates had started going crazy, so we chose a 2-year fixed rate with a payment of basically $6,000 a month. Now, the idea is that in 2025, when this mortgage is due for renewal, we'd be able to capitalize on what I believe will be lower rates than today, but no one has a crystal ball. So there you have it. A lot of money, a lot of moving parts, a lot of money and time to even get to this point. We haven't even renovated this place yet. So from the time we listed our house to the time that we will move back in here when this renovation is done, it'll be about 3 years. So the moral of the story is double the time and double the money, and then throw a little extra time, throw a little extra money in for good measure, and stop believing the funky math that they peddle on TV. I realized that I was one of those people that was peddling funky math, but, just disregard it. Well, it's just entertainment. Whew! Talking about these numbers is actually a little stressful. I might need something a little stronger than this chai tea. I know that says TT, but what are my initials? They call me Chai Tea. TT. These are bad jokes. We should have cut the video a little earlier. Till we had the other funds. Funds? Let's start off with the sale of our last house and oh my goodness.
That's it. Do some
Okay, here we go. I explain it that way so that I can get something off my chest. Can we stop saying, over asking, as if it means something more than it does? A property is worth what someone is willing to pay for it at that moment in time. It has nothing to do with the asking price. That's just a random see? No. Now, we chose a 2-year fixed rate with a payment of $599,000. I got myself lost in those numbers.